the national 12-bell final with Matthew Tosh.
We're now going to focus on Birmingham's test piece.
the national 12 Bell Final, live from Norwich.
There we go. A lot of intent listening downstairs. That was Birmingham's test piece. And one more team to perform today. That will be Cambridge going into the Tower at 4 o'clock. And we should be tuning into their ringing just before 4:15. So just to recap who we've had so far. We had, there's my bit, look, these bits of paper, people moving in and out of the studio. We had Leeds, then we had the College Youths, the Cumberlands, Bristol, Toaster, Melbourne, Exeter, Norwich. Just heard from Birmingham. Cambridge will be up next. Now, I feel like I'm going cross-eyed in the studio because I've got two Adams in front of me. We were trying to get Adam Crocker up here. We've got Adam and Adam, AA, I don't know, Alcoholics Anonymous. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Very well, thank you, Matthew.
Very good,
Yeah,
very
well,
good. We should say we've got. I'm going completely silly here. We've got Adam. We've got Adam Greenlee.
Yes.
Brilliant. And we've got Adam
Brady.
Brilliant. There we go. You see. So, are you here supporting today? Adam
Yes.
Brady?
Yes, I'm here
Yeah.
supporting. Yes, I'm not necessarily supporting any team in particular. Perhaps Birmingham and the College Youths in a sort of 50-50. But
I like that. Sounds
yeah.
kind of diplomatic. You're not
Yeah.
kind of siding with one more than the other.
Yeah, I'm not really here in any kind of militant capacity. But I
Do
think
you think we should have militant supporters out there? Do you think that could take the competition to another level?
I think there are plenty of militant supporters anyway, Matthew.
Yeah.
In many, many ways.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Adam, you were ringing earlier, were you?
No.
You weren't today.
No,
so you're
I've had 2 years off.
Oh my goodness! So
It's been fantastic.
I did. I didn't like to say earlier. You were looking remarkably relaxed, and it makes a huge difference not competing.
It's been lovely. Although Mr. Mouncey who is also kicking around somewhere and not ringing today, did suggest that we ought to enter a scratch band after the 10th theme had rung, because with the bands here today and the supporters here today, we probably actually could walk away with the Taylor Trophy.
Oh, controversial.
Yes, I'd be up for that, yeah.
You'd be up for that? So we've got
Yeah,
to see
absolutely,
anyone
yeah.
else down there.
Well,
if
there's
you're
obviously
listening.
Mr. Mouncey Swaz is kicking around somewhere as
Yep.
well. They're Ian and Claire Ralston are around, so there's plenty to choose from. And actually, I think we could have a pretty decent ring.
Yes.
Although I'm not sure my Lincolnshire's up to scratch at the moment.
No, I don't think I know it.
I think we'd probably be stood at the bottom of the tower looking at the line, but we wouldn't be the first band to do that.
Care to elaborate?
No, not at all.
Do you know, we had somebody email us in. He said, "Can we have more bells and less talk?" I
No.
can't give you any more bells
Right.
than
Well,
we've
we've got Adam Greenlee here.
We've got Adam Greenlee, so you'll have to do. Adam Brady, you've been to these events before. What brings you back?
I have indeed. Yes. Well, it's a fantastic event to come to. It's the biggest event of the ringing calendar, I think. You can see all your old friends from all over the place and listen to some fantastic ringing. And obviously the beer is first class. So why wouldn't you come?
I'm just been handed a phone with some whole text messages. This is poor time out. I can't read half of these messages because we're...
It's in Scouse, I'm afraid.
It's Scouse, isn't it? So it's a big shout out for the Liverpool posse. There we go. So I'm going to summarise it there.
I'm not sure who the Liverpool posse are.
Oh, can I do a shout out?
Qualified.
So there we go. That's but it's great. People are listening in. We've had people tweeting as well. People sending messages on Facebook as well. And it's interesting when we have certain guests because Gareth's got the statistics over there. The kind of the broadcast statistics. We can tell when certain guests come into the studio if the listener figures go up or down. You see, and
I wouldn't like to comment on what happens
not at all.
when
We've called it the
previously
Tatlow
come in.
effect. But, so we just keep monitoring that, and there may be a kind of a law and an algorithm that we can produce later so that we can do predictions. Adam Greenlee, is there anything special about the 12 Bell for you that perhaps you don't get at other striking competitions?
Beer.
Oh, come on, you get beer at other striking
That's a
competitions?
very good point.
No, well, I've not yet actually managed to drink a pint whilst listening to some local 6-bell striking competition.
Aye.
I've been to embarrassing striking competitions where the locals have rather overproduced food, where we've done our best to eat as much as we can and not. But actually, today I think the struggle is going to be overproducing beer and struggling to drink the amount of beer that has been produced downstairs.
Really, it's a wall. It's an impressive sight down there, isn't it? That kind of wall of barrels. I was trying to describe it this morning.
It's fantastic. Yes, I mean it's kind of like Nirvana, I think, for bell ringers or indeed anyone who is a fan of beer. I'm sure a lot of us have seen the photo that was posted on Facebook, and And the selection is absolutely fantastic, and I think there's cider for some people, the people who don't.
Have you been sampling the local produce?
I have, yes.
Which ones have you got?
Trying to get around.
What have you gone
yes,
for?
I've done the, what was it called? The something jackal and the lupus I'm on at the moment.
Yep.
I think I've had about 4 different ones.
There's a kind of
they're all
Harry Pottery
excellent.
theme going, because there's a serious one as well, which was the kind of dark,
Serious, yes, I've had that
black-looking one,
That's
wasn't
right.
there, as well?
Yeah. It's all fantastic, I have to say. They've really outdone themselves today.
I think it's a bit of a shame in some ways. There sort of various ringers have gone off to find other drinking establishments in Norwich, which I guess is the bonus of being a city centre, which we haven't been for the last... I can't remember the last time there was a city centre tower like this. Actually,
That's true, yeah.
Because a lot of certainly Melbourne and Ripon and Oxford over the last few years, we've been very much contained, and people have drunk what's there, and this is slightly freer in terms of what's going on. So
I gather some of the Birmingham team had planned a pub crawl, but given that they were drawn so late, they've decided that they had to postpone that.
Have we ruined their pub crawl plans?
Yes, I believe you have.
Well, they were apparently allowed 2 pints before they rang. This was
that was in the official email,
written
yes.
permission
Yes.
From the conductor that there were 2 pints being allowed before they rang, but no more. Which 2 pints, 3 pints, 4 pints. Who's counting? Could be Birmingham's downfall this year. Who knows?
There's a kind of fine balance, isn't it? Because, if you have a 1 or 2 pints, I think for some people it's slightly different amounts. It just kind of helps calm the nerves. I mean, do you have like a kind of a take on that? Do you have a sort of level that you get to where you think, actually, I'm going to ring well?
At least 8 pints, Matthew.
Is that
At least 8 pints, you think you're going to do a really good job, and you come away thinking, actually, you couldn't have rung better.
Yes, but then there's a difference, isn't there? There's the kind of your perception, and
Perhaps
there's
that's what it takes for Adam Greenlee. Yeah.
But
That's what it takes for us as well.
1 pint definitely sharpens you up, I think. We can all agree on that.
Very good. Well,
Yeah.
if you've got thoughts on that, you can let us know. On Twitter, it's at National 12Bell. Use the hashtag 12Bell. And if you're on Facebook, I must say that's where most of the messages are coming in at the moment. And people are posting photos as well. Got a photo of Wilby and Graham Bradshaw with their heads almost in the speaker. They're listening to the Birmingham performance earlier. And people are texting in as well. So thank you very much for all of your messages. Actual snapshot at the moment, got 138 people listening online at the moment. That's been going up and down during the day. So 138
we have to say, Matthew, we have to say that actually, while we're enjoying the messages, the last message from Tybout was probably not broadcastable.
No, I did see that flash across the desk. So thank you, Tybout. We got that message understood. Right now, it is 4 minutes into the practice of Cambridge. This is the last team of the day. They were drawn at completely the opposite end of the spectrum as compared to last year. We heard them talking earlier. In fact, we heard some of them talking because we had the Pipe clan in the studio with all their bright shirts on. Did we get a photo of them in the end?
We did.
We did. We haven't posted that yet. We'll try and get that up online because it's quite a sight to say. Now, another text message coming. He said, Paul Tybout. What is this, the Paul Tybout show? He said, you could have said it, right? Why aren't you here? Why aren't you here, Paul? That's my question to you. Why are you not here? You could be in the studio sweating it out with the rest of us because it is really, really hot.
You're listening to the National 12-Bell Striking Contest, live from Norwich with Matthew Tosh.
Okay, having a quick look on Twitter. Peter Harrison has been posting some things on there down under. I know quite a few people in Australia are actually staying up really late through the night. We had a really nice message earlier from a 10-year-old ringer in Adelaide who says she really aspires, she wants to be able to take part in a competition like this one day when she's a bit older. But I think that's really sweet, isn't it? You've got young people listening like that on the other side of the world as well. So...
He has yet to learn how to drink, Matthew, is all I can say.
Well, it's
take part or drink. I think the bar is probably a preferable place to be, especially somewhere like today and like Ripon a few years ago, where actually the ringing chamber turns into a proper type of sweatbox by this point of the day. Dripping ropes, dripping ringers, not a pleasant place to be.
But I seem to remember Ripon was very hot, wasn't it?
Ripon was a very hot day. Ripon was a very hot day. Although I seen from Ripon we had showers through the day as
We
well.
had stormy showers because I remember at one point during the broadcast, the back end of the doors at the West End blew open, and there was leaves and paper going away. It's quite wild, wasn't it? That's right. A couple of messages just come in. Peter Harrison said to John Spreadbury, we were listening earlier. He said yes, I was listening. So thank you for that mention. David Forder said of Birmingham, the first team to sparkle, although there was the occasional rushed hand stroke leads, but generally loved that performance. Thank you for your thoughts there. Dina Hawtrey says it was worth it, cracking piece of ringing, and thanks to Matthew and the team for making it possible for expats to listen. She said I've read it backwards. I've read the tweets. She sent 2 tweets in. Do apologise. It might make sense now. I've done it upside down. So if I stand on my head like this, I can read it now. Right, it says it was Rob and I have dragged ourselves away from our sunbeds and the pool at home in Lisbon to listen to Birmingham. Go Brummies! Just to say, in fact, they're listening to this, but I'll hold the tweets whilst we get the Birmingham rings in place. I'm going to say goodbye to ANA, Adam and Adam. Thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us. Birmingham team will be up next.
This is the National 12 Bell Final with Matthew Tosh, live from Norwich.
Now, a seamless transition there in the studio, the door slamming in the background. We've got Richard Grimmett and James Forster here. Right, you're looking rather hot. Is it really nasty and steamy up there at the moment?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it when you first walk in, but as soon as you get going, the sweat begins to flow.
Yeah.
It was very hot, very uncomfortable, and the ropes were wet, and it was difficult to grip them. You felt every time you pulled the backstroke down, you lost half an inch of the rope before you've managed to finally get some purchase.
Yeah.
It's pretty uncomfortable.
And the sun was shining in some people's eyes. Yeah.
Of course, you don't really get to practice in those sorts of conditions, do you? Because I can't imagine it was that hot when you came to visit here, or will you get those conditions at home?
No, well, I think it's a combination of having had 8 teams of really hot bell ringers up there before us. It really heats the atmosphere up, human bodies.
Yeah. And maybe using up the oxygen as well.
Brain
processing.
The smell isn't always pleasant.
Nice hat, by the way. We caught that on the webcam. We've got a studio webcam up there that's going out across the world. So, there were some groans this morning about where you were drawn. I don't know whether that was coming from you or from other people. I mean, it was a tough place to be drawn so late in the day.
Well, it just means you can't get on the beer as fast, basically.
There were rumours that we've interrupted a pub crawl.
That's
yes.
Fran's pub crawl. Fran's a bit of a beer aficionado, and she's mapped out quite a few pubs within the ring road.
I think it's a dozen pubs. Yes.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Right.
I presume she's gone off already, I would imagine, making up for lost time.
Doing market research for taking a hit for the team.
Yeah,
That's not
absolutely.
bad.
Yeah. Preparation for the 12 bell has sort of changed over the years. So nowadays we're rather cautious about how much we drink before we perform. 20 or 30 years ago, we would not have considered that, and we would have just had a good day as usual and then gone and rung. But nowadays, the performance is so much higher, we have to be more cautious.
Do you feel then that perhaps you've almost put pressure on yourselves by being so successful over the past few years?
Undoubtedly, yes. I was briefing the team earlier this week, and I said, really, it's not coming about second, third, or fourth. It's about either retaining the trophy or losing. One year we are going to lose. It is undoubtedly the case, but obviously we try not to. We don't want to give it away.
No, and Jim, from your perspective as someone in the team, I mean, how do you feel about this idea of you're either going to win or lose?
Well, Rich is completely right. I mean, for us, coming second isn't an achievement. It's losing. Simple as that. So there's the pressure to maintain our run of wins.
Does this get talked about throughout the year, or do you have periods where you focus more on the competition?
No, we'll put it to bed in a week's time. We'll have a meeting of all the people from Birmingham who've rung in the competition in the last 3 years. We'll elect a leader for the next year. That's it's going to be an electoral college for that. And then we'll put it to bed, and we'll come back to it really probably a couple of weeks or so before the eliminator.
Yeah, so you've got quite a democratic process in place that kind of sort of supports your approach to the competition.
Yep. Absolutely. Every year Richard is unanimously elected.
Won't be tied anybody who crosses him. That's right. Now talk about we touched on this very briefly last year, the usefulness of Hawk here. presented with the data. Do you make use of that data yourselves?
Well, it's an interesting one because I was really very instrumental in making sure that Hawkeye came about, and I led the project team that created Hawkeye. And so all the way through, many teams felt as though Birmingham probably got a bit of an unfair advantage, but we've never ever really used Hawkeye to our advantage. And, I mean, this year, the only Hawkeye statistics we've looked at have been the ones from our visit to Norwich 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I think a lot of the other bands now use Hawkeye regularly in their practices. I think that's probably a bit of an overkill. I think we know whether we're ringing well or not. Hawkeye just actually puts the final bit of polish on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, you're nodding with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think really it comes down to each and every individual band member how much they use it. But yeah, certainly we all look at the figures and try to make head or tail of what's going on up there. So yeah, it's very useful.
Okay, well, a message here from Dina Hawtree says, Rob and I have dragged ourselves away from our sunbeds and the pool at home in Lisbon to listen to Birmingham. Go Brummies! And she said, and it was worth it. A cracking piece of ringing.
Well, just to back her up, it's Dinah, but not Dina.
Sorry.
But,
sorry.
Yeah, her and Rob are ex-Brummies, so every year they're supporting us, and we appreciate their support from abroad.
Okay, David Forder says Birmingham was the first team to sparkle. Occasional rushed handstroke leads, but loved it.
Right. And I know that one of our Brummies is listening from Japan today.
There we go, you see. I think we had a message from Japan a little bit earlier, actually. I'll have to go through the things. Greg Jordan on Twitter as well has said Birmingham were in just another class. Couple that with a cuppa, it says brackets no beer, unfortunately, and you're onto a winner. There we go, you see. So people can comment. I think that's really nice, people getting in touch there. So, gentlemen, that is your performance is done. Presumably you can increase the amount of beverage you can consume now?
I hope so, yeah.
Certainly start.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I'm challenging myself. I don't know whether it's a good thing for a gallon in an hour.
Well, you rise to the challenge of the competition, so you rise to the challenge of consuming your beer.
Absolutely.
Listen, Richard Grimmett and James Forster, thank you very much for coming into the studio. I'm sure we'll see you down at the results a little bit later.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The National 12-Bell Final with Matthew Tosh.
Now keep those comments coming online. Don't forget, if you're on Twitter, it's at National 12Bell, and that's the number 12. The hashtag to use if you're tweeting as well is hashtag 12Bell. We need to get some oil on that door and a kind of sponge, because people can't get out fast enough. It's probably the heat in here. And now there we go, right on cue. This is our last performance of the day. This is Cambridge, and this is their test piece. See if you can hear the tenor being bounced on its stage before they pull off. This is the Cambridge test piece.
You're listening to the National 12 Bell Striking Contest, live from Norwich with Matthew Tosh.
There it was. That was our last team of the day, Cambridge. So we have heard from Leeds, the College Youths, the Cumberlands, Bristol, Toaster, Melbourne, Exeter, Norwich, Birmingham, and there we had Cambridge. So that is all of the teams gone through. We're now into the deliberation time. So, or the judges will be carted off into a sealed container, although they have been underground for most of the day today. The Strikeometer team will be with them as well, downloading all the data that they can refer to as well. We spoke to the judges this morning. We'll replay that interview a little bit later for you. Right now, though, I've been joined in the studio by another Adam. Adam Crocker and Jack Richards are in the studio. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Well, thank you. Good. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Having a good day?
We are, yes.
Yeah. So I can see there's different. It looks like you've got different beverages in your glasses there. What's that one you're on there, Adam?
I think that's the Lupus.
Okay. These are local beverages that have been supplied. What are you on there, Jack?
Am I really supposed to remember this sort of thing?
Well, I don't know. It's different.
It's an alcoholic beverage.
Okay, fine. I'm just asking. Okay, just asking. So, the atmosphere, Jack. Have you been to one of these competitions before?
I went to the Eliminator in Wakefield, but no, this is the first final I've been to.
And has it sort of met your expectations? I mean, how would you describe it?
I think so. I think it's been a really kind of fun event. There's just sort of like been friends and beer out to one side and then ringing at the other side, and you can just sort of do what you want. If you want to, you can go off and do shopping or eat, just whatever, really.
Have you been shopping yet?
Yeah, I had to go off and buy my mother a birthday present, so...
Oh, right, okay, you've just disclosed that on air, you realise that? She'll be expecting something. Is she listening?
I doubt it.
I doubt it, no. Okay, fair enough. And Adam, you've been to quite a few competitions. We spoke to you as previously. How has it been for you today? And why do you keep coming back? What is it that draws you to this competition?
The first competition I came to, I was ringing, so I had to come, I guess. And then it's just the atmosphere. You see so many different people from so many different parts of the country that perhaps only see once a year at the 12 Bell competition. And it's lovely just to keep in touch with everyone and meet people again and see what they've been up to and have a pint with them, do a bit of ringing. Yeah, it's a really good atmosphere, really good day out.
I've noticed there's a good range of ages, but the proportion of young ringers taking part in the competition is relatively high.
Yeah, especially the Leeds team, who I was associated with before I moved back down to St Albans. The Leeds Minster Society has a tradition of ringing with Leeds University Society, and Leeds University students have been encouraged to take part. So certainly myself and Tom Mack and James Ramsbottom have all rung with Leeds in the past. Hannah Martin, it was her first year ringing in a 12 Bell competition this year. So she's 21. So yeah,
and we heard from her. I mean, we interviewed her last night. We played her interview a couple of times, and yeah, it's really interesting to get that first take on a competition, because people come to the competition year on year, you kind of get used to the machine, don't you? And you kind of know what to expect. But coming into it fresh for the first time, it can be quite daunting.
I think she was quite nervous, and but it's a good experience ringing into 12 Bell competition. All the practicing and just being here and performing. We're quite used to performing, I guess, in a sense where we ring peals and you're aware that the public can hear you and that they're listening, but it's very rare that you come somewhere and perform and ring where people are literally listening to every single blow. And you know that if you're a little bit quick, someone is listening to that and probably judging you outside, as well as the judges. So it really does focus you.
Yeah, of course, as soon as you come out of the tower, you almost start getting that feedback, don't you? People there very willing to tell you how well or not so well you've done. Your third row from the end was a little bit late.
I think in my experience, everyone's been quite positive towards me when I've rung in the past, and people always said, we listened to Leeds. We thought it was a good effort. Probably the word effort's a giveaway, but people are quite positive and encouraging, I think, at this sort of event. It's got a nice attitude to it, I think. It could be quite easily quite snobby, but it's not at all. And I think that makes it why people come back year after year.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of, because there are people listening here who are not 12 Bell ringers, in fact, there are people here who are not 12 Bell ringers. I mean, is there anything people can sort of learn from how these teams are preparing and maybe use in their own ringing, preparing for their local striking competition?
I don't know, I think that's
I think so.
Yeah. There's
Well,
always
it's all that
something
sort of like practice, isn't it? You know, just
I think it'd be nice to know how all of the different teams will prepare in different ways. It'd be interesting to find out how they prepare, what's worked well for them, and that could be quite useful for towers. But I think with the 12 bell competition, people are focused on it all year round, whereas my experience of perhaps branch and district striking competitions is that you perhaps have one practice the week before just to make sure you can get through it, and that's it. But the 12 bell competition is sort of monthly practices or weekly practices, and everyone's focused on their striking all year
Well,
round.
you say that, but allegedly, we were speaking to Birmingham just before the Cambridge test piece, and they were saying that they don't practice. Now, you could argue that perhaps they're in a separate class themselves, but they allegedly, Richard Grimmett was saying that they put that competition to bed. So they'll have a sort of wash-up meeting next week, and then it sort of sits quietly. And what do you say, a couple of weeks before or something, or just a couple of months beforehand, they start thinking about it again?
I think you've got a range of abilities in the teams, though. I mean, the Birmingham team, as I understand, has been much the same over the past couple of years, and they're all quite experienced ringers, whereas some of the other teams, I know some of the Leeds team and perhaps some of the other teams have newer faces in them, perhaps not that experienced 12 bell ringers, and so there's more need for a practice rather than people that could just turn up and ring Lincolnshire Maximus. But
Yeah, indeed. And Jack, it'd be interesting because one of the things that's come through from some of the 12 bell bands is the importance of gelling the social side. That people have said that the social side, that the band can gel outside the tower, is just as important, if not even more important, than working on the relationships in the tower. I mean, is that something you can relate to as a ringer?
yeah, I agree because I'm not part of this 12 bell team this year, but I've gone along to all the social events and stuff, and I feel like I'm like part of the band, like not actually rigging, but I turn up to the pub and that sort of a thing. And so I reckon like if I did get into like the team in the future, I think it could like go fairly well. I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, but
Never say never. You've got to have aspirations. I've read this out a couple of times. I've come back to it a few times because we had a girl who tweeted us from Adelaide through the Adelaide Ringers. I'll just find the tweet because it was a lovely tweet that she sent. Here it is. Charlotte, aged 10, who was listening down under. She stayed up. She was allowed to stay up until 11 o'clock at night, so quite late. And she said, I'm looking forward to being a part of the international 12 bell competition eventually. So, she's been listening in, fast asleep now, of course, but she's been listening in and was feeling inspired by this ringing that you're hearing, and that's part of the reason that we do the broadcast. I mean, do you think then just by you're hearing this sort of ringing, is it giving us something to aim for, perhaps?
yeah, I think so.
Do that again. You answered in almost in stereo there, isn't it?
wouldn't it be nice if sort of next year perhaps we saw a sort of 12 bell team from New York or Perth or Adelaide or somewhere entering in an eliminator? I don't know if they would allow it sort of a live feed from there to the judges in the UK to...
Oh, we'll see. Rather than the logistics of getting them across.
Or perhaps we should just all go over to Australia.
We could have a
12 bell
competition
striking
abroad.
competition.
Holiday.
Well, that's an interesting thought, actually. Move the 12 bell, because, it says national 12 bell, but I don't know if there's anything in the rules. Is it that it has to be a UK-based tower? I don't know.
Just make a new competition.
Send you to. If you've got any thoughts on that, we'd be interested in that. You can email us at the email address is 12bellstudio@gmail.com. Don't forget also, if you're on Twitter, it's National 12 Bell, and the hashtag for today's event is 12bell. That's with the number 12, and on Facebook, which is where a lot of you have been sending your messages, it's National 12 Bell. Of course, with ringers, we're obsessed by statistics and things like that. And have you looked at the 12 Bell website?
I have, yes. I've spent far too much time looking.
Have you really? Do you do that analysis?
It's been a little while since I've looked at it, to be honest, but I have had a sneaky look.
It's fascinating. I don't know what it is. Whether it's the way that our brains naturally work being ringers, it's the kind of thinking skills we have, but we are obsessed by numbers, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah. I concur.
You concur, yeah. Brilliant. Well, listen, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to talk to me. Adam, your glass is empty. Jack, I thought that was your glass, but it's not. You've got another. There was another one hiding around the back.
This is my glass.
Oh, you're just drinking any glass that comes. I'm sure you took a sip from a glass over there. Adam Crocker and Jack Richards, thanks for talking to us. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
You're listening to the National 12 Bell Striking Contest, live from Norwich with Matthew Tosh.
Right, now we're in that part of the day where we're kind of in the judges' hands because we need to see how long it's going to take them to sort out all their results and things. We expect the results to come through at 6 o'clock UK time. So that if you need to go away and have a cup of tea, do a bit of gardening, anything like that, do your hair, have a shower so you're looking good for when the results come out. 6 o'clock is when we're expecting that. We will keep you updated as we're going along. We expect to stay on the air. We've got quite a few more interviews coming up. We may be replaying some of the people we were talking to a little bit earlier. And of course, if I can get my producer's attention, we might be able to line some audio up. But thank you so much to everybody who has been listening today and for all of your interaction. It has been quite tricky keeping up with it all the time. And as I'm saying that, even more comments are coming through on Facebook and Twitter. And what I'm going to do now is play you an interview that I recorded with... well, actually, no, I'm not going to play you an interview because the Cambridge people have just come in and they've come into this very, very hot studio. I don't want to keep them in too long because I'll pass out. So Patrick Brook just sitting down there. Ali Brook is just coming in as well, just moving them into position. So you need to come quite close to the microphones there. And Ali, you look like just sort of sense of relief there. How are you feeling?
Very relieved that it's finished.
Okay. Is it no? You were the last team. That was a complete opposite to last year because you were first last year. I understand it was getting a little bit hot up there.
It was hotter up there than in here.
Is it? I'm feeling better because some people have said it's hotter in here.
No, it's hotter up there.
Very hot up there.
Yeah, that big window, all that sunlight coming in. Okay, so that was your performance. We heard it here. It was sounding good to us. What's your take on it?
It was all right. It never sounds as good when you're ringing in it, so you're always more critical. It was all right, I think. We got through without any major mistakes. So, yeah, I think it was okay.
Brilliant.
Bit of discussion about the speed, as usual. Probably a little bit quicker to start with than normal, but, yeah, it was...
For non-12 bell ringers, how do you decide on the pace? Because, I mean, I've judged striking competitions and you know, I say I felt that the band was rushing, but I've always struggled to try and communicate why I feel that is.
It can feel like it's rushed to one person but slow to another. That's if you've got 12 people ringing, you've got 12 different opinions as to what the speed should be. It's a case of all going the same time. And sometimes you hit it off and do it, and other times you don't. So mostly we were going the same speed today.
So how then? And again, this is for people that are kind of trying to improve their ringing, trying to improve their striking. How do you arrive at that speed?
You listen to the whole change.
Yeah.
And is what you do. And if it sounds right, then you let the body go into it, because you have to use the body's rhythm. You can't place the bell exactly on the spot. That's not possible. So you just have to feel the rhythm and just go with it. And if it works, then everyone's doing the same thing. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, we had an instruction to ring a bit quicker, so everybody tries to ring a bit quicker, which normally means you go too quick. And it takes time to turn it round. If you ring a peal, you can get the speed and let the speed settle down. In a short piece of ringing like this, if you set off at the wrong speed, you can be in trouble.
And that's part of the challenge, isn't it?
Yes,
with it being such
right.
a sort of
it can happen.
Short window,
That's
isn't
why
it?
you practice.
Yeah.
So as to try to find the speed you want to ring.
Indeed. Ali, talk us through. I mean, I've been up into that tower a couple of times, and the thing that strikes me is kind of the way you go in through that door looking upwards. All I can see is those kind of multiple rope guides.
Yeah, and you don't look up.
Are you a person that looks down?
I don't look up.
Yeah.
No, if I was to look up, you feel like it's so far that it's such a long draft.
Yeah, I wish
we could.
We should probably try and get a photo of that, because it is. If you've not been to Mancroft, it's quite a sight. It's just rope guide after rope guide after rope guide.
They're much easier since they've had the organ in. Before, when it was open to the church, you get vertigo problems because you could look, particularly around the front or on 11 or 12. You feel like you're right next to the gap to the church. So it's actually much easier to ring since they've had the organ, and also with the new ropes, they're much easier.
Much better.
Their ropes have made a huge difference.
You're not the first person to comment on that. So is it because of a particular type of rope? Is it material? Is it just the fact the old ones were they stretchy? Because it didn't.
Well, the ropes are very long here, and so you'd expect a lot of stretch and give, and that can make it harder to predict what they're doing. They're more predictable.
Very good, very good. And the boss man's just coming in now. So I don't know whether he's just.
Oh, good. Does that mean we can go?
I don't know whether he's kind of like keeping editorial control of what you're saying or what. So
well, he nearly miscalled it, actually.
It's all happening now. Someone else is coming in, pouring extra beer into David Pipe's glass in the background. We'll have a chat with David in a moment. But Ali, the build-up, is there a change in dynamic amongst the team as you approach and get closer to the day of performance at all?
I don't know really. I mean, we were quite nervous before we went in.
Yeah.
Some people talk more. Some people are very quiet. Some people are listening. To the teams before. We work as a team. I mean, we practice a lot. We ring a lot together. We're used to ringing together. So.
People's idiosyncrasies and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. I've spoken to some ringers. Some people go for a run in the morning. Some just want to sit quietly or read the paper or just listen to music or listen to previous year's ringing. I don't know whether either of you fall into any of those brackets.
We don't go for a run.
Don't go for a run.
No, we drove here.
Oh! There we go. Well, listen, you're sitting here stewing in the 12 Bells studio after stewing in the tower. So thank you very much, Patrick and Ali Brooke. Thanks for talking to you. We'll do a little swap over because there's some more people behind you there. It's a sea of colourful shirts in here today. Ali's got a nice colourful top on. There's Phil there with his bright blue T-shirt. They're being very British here. Just sit down. There we go. So we'll talk to more of the Cambridge ringers in just one moment.
The National 12 Bell Final with Matthew Tosh.